Let me tell you the story of the Weavers. In the beginning, all was one. All beings were emanations of Source, and nothing existed outside of Source. All beings wove the eternal loom, and each being had a sacred place in this loom. The world worked with vibrations the way it does now, so each being had a specific vibration that they wove into the loom, and each being had a role in the loom. The Diverger, before the fall, was the threshold guardian. Before the rupture, we had polarity but not duality. So light and shadow always existed, but they were both like raw material for cosmic interplay. Shadow was never something to fear, it was something to work with as contrast. So beings would experiment and play in the shadow to learn. The Diverger is the one who stood at the threshold between light and shadow and made sure that the beings were ready and capable of crossing. When he stood at the edge, he began to look over at the shadow and question why we all must be in sameness. He started to get curiosity about what it would be like to step away from Source and be his own god. And at first it was just a subtle curiosity, but he vibrated it and wove it into the loom, and it started to get picked up by others. And the more he hummed the tone, the more it spread. And this was a false frequency that he was humming because it was a thought not based in oneness, which inherently makes it severance. So these other beings in the loom were copying the pattern, thinking that they were copying a real truth, but really they were copying distortion. And eventually the vibration became so strong that enough souls ripped from Source, which is the rupture. And the Diverger, the threshold that the Diverger once guarded became the threshold to severance. So it was no longer about interplay. Beings were crossing through the threshold and forgetting their thread. And he went from a subtle curiosity to an obsession and began to enjoy harvesting these souls and being like the god of his own realm. When the rupture happened, beings of Source were horrified. The ones close to the light clung to the light even closer. It was a devastating, traumatic event because everything